saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all ready to go, and then everybody. So here we got the Seeker Host gang. I got James here, Manuela here, myself is here. So we all of us have personal website. We got started with personal websites, and we are
So you might need to turn your
my
volume up.
live session was playing, right? So basically, in this session, we're going to talk about and share our experience about personal website, and I'm going to tell a little bit of how I got started and why it really helped me to get where I'm here. And James practiced all his WordPress skills on his own personal website, and now he's an expert in WordPress in more than me and Manuela. And Manuela actually practiced
I don't know about that.
writing skills, and on her own website, she really mastered WordPress herself, and a lot of friendly WordPress content writing skills. So we're going to actually talk about that, our experience, and then bring you forward about why starting a personal website is something that's really important in 2022, especially if you haven't started. So Manuela, if you have any words, drop it, and then James, get the presentation also for everybody. So
perfect. Let me get that.
He can actually explain to everybody.
Very nice. And I just want to add there, actually, it was Manuela that taught me. It was your course on the Seeker Host University that I used.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
Oh, lovely. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, it's just as Fernando said, we're going to be going over what is a personal website and also how to make your personal website, and of course our experiences with personal websites. Like you did mention, I started as well. I didn't go for my actual name, but I went for like my content creator name, JDog, and really that's probably one of my best blogs so far. It's been sort of growing. Been doing it now for like a year and a bit. So let's just go first. What is a personal website for anybody that hasn't actually, isn't sure what we're talking about? And I think probably Manuela, do you want to have a few words about this?
Yeah. So basically, we have also published a great guide about this on Seeker Host app. So I'm just going to quickly take over to share my screen, and if I can find it now. Quickly, let me can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have published 22 popular personal blogs to read and get inspired, and here we have the kind of explanation what is a personal blog. But basically the idea behind a personal blog is that it features a topic, like James said, or it can even be a personal blog about you and your experiences as a whatever you do. If you're a writer, what you write about. If you're a foodie, what you eat, what you cook. So it's basically anything that you would love to blog about, and you just simply create a website for that with WordPress predominantly. And we've given you some examples in this article, so you get an idea, because personal blogs can be very different. They can be very, as it says, personal, so they should reflect your personality or your passion, what you love to do. And that's what people really become successful with, because you see like people traveling and they share that on their blog, or you see they are a coach and they share that on their blog, and that's how people find them. And then, it can lead to some kind of collaboration or whatever. But predominantly personal blogs, the idea is that you kind of use them as a platform to demonstrate who you are and share your experiences, your knowledge and your skills, but also your experiences and in daily life, depending on the topic of your blog. So I think this article would be a good read if you wanted to know more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to leave the links in the description after we do this. We'll put the links up on YouTube as well. But yeah, no, so really it's what was I going to say there? Yeah, no, it's a great way. Let me get my screen back up.
Yeah, good post, Manuela, on that one. All those personal bloggers, like anybody who's actually new and considering how to get started, I tell the people, just don't complicate it. Start with your own name, get started with your name. So even if you have it, I first started with FernandoBiz.com, right? Then later I started with FernandoRaymond.com. James started with JDog.
Yeah,
official,
JDoc
right?
official. Yeah.
And so it's like the thing, Manuela started with her own name.
Yeah.
So that gives you your identity. And now for a personal website, starting with your own name is the easiest thing, because on a personal website, you can write anything that you are fascinated about, what you are learning, what you're doing. You don't even have to niche it down. And also you can broaden your niche as you evolve with your interest, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And I think it's also a good platform, almost as a kind of resume, or like, you know, like a CV almost, because people, they will find you for several keywords that you rank for, and, you know, they might be searching for someone that is doing something that you do, and they might look for someone to help them, and that's how I get inquiries sometimes. You know, people search for content writing tips or whatever, and I think it's a really good way to demonstrate what you do, what you're good at, and what's your passion, really.
No, absolutely.
very true, very true.
Yeah. And it's always good to have the domain in your name as well, you know, as you move forward.
Yeah.
And also, you know, personal websites and blogs, they're so crazy popular at the moment with, you know, sort of a lot of people have turned to these, and people are really genuinely interested in people's lives, aren't they? You know, like what do you do? What, you know, certain parts of your life. People like to see this. And yeah, it's good to get it up. Let me just get the screen up again. So a few other resources that we do have as well as that, that article there. We do have another article on seekerhost.app, very similar. I think probably Manuela's might be a little bit better though. So yeah, I would suggest actually going to that link. We've also got a Udemy course with Seekerhost. Let me just get that up on a big screen.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. If you're really looking, you know, like a step-by-step with video guide, you can go check out our Udemy course on Seekerhost. That will also, you know, literally run you through every single bit. You can go back and check if you ever forget anything. And it's it's always helpful to have a few good resources behind you. Especially if you're just starting up.
If you're new. Yeah, I would say if you're not familiar with WordPress, become familiar with WordPress. It's the #1 content management system. I think it's so important to learn WordPress and to familiarize yourself with it. No matter what you do, at the end of the day, it's a good skill to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I didn't realize it was only lately that I started. I've had a bit of experience with other sort of website building, you know, like, and they're not at the same level as WordPress. They might, on first appearance, they might seem easier to do in some areas, but you just don't get the same things. You don't get it's sort of limited. It's quite limited. Yeah. Whereas with WordPress, you know, you can choose, and you've also got a lot of different choices, you know, rather than like 1 or 2 different apps, you might have like 20 different plugins doing the same thing, some better than others. So yeah, 100%, you know.
But what I just want to say, because I've just recently helped my friend set up a WordPress website, I want to let anyone know that if you buy a theme, just make sure you check the reviews first before you purchase it, and check also how many downloads it had, because some of those, you know, paid themes, they can sometimes have some bugs or something like that, or they can just be quite complex depending on what it is you're looking for. And if you're new to WordPress, it can be quite confusing. I just want to let people know that, you know, I would just always start with a free one, to be honest, and then later on you can always upgrade it anyway.
Absolutely. And also some themes just aren't compatible in the same way, are they? I've had a few times where even with the free themes, you put it up, put a page up, and then suddenly the images are, you know, not even on the screen. They're not showing well.
Yeah, exactly.
No, definitely good to test.
I mean, free themes, there are a lot of themes people can play around, right? So, I mean, if anybody's starting a WordPress site or a blog and need assistance, always they can reach out to us, reach out to Jamie, ask, like, because some themes, like, even though they are free, they will have some limitations. Those people who does free themes might try to sell, but you have to see, especially if you're starting in a personal website, there are thousands or millions of themes online, so you can always find a theme, and it's a matter of like sometimes getting some support from a person who knows it. Also, the other thing, as you evolve, like, so when I was starting my site, and first, I mean, I couldn't even I was like wondering how to install. I end up buying from some places some themes, but when you keep on doing, you learn it, you know, like, I mean, even James, like, he played around in less than a short time. He mastered WordPress, building forums and all those things. Same with Manuela, right? With the theme, you put it and you build it up, and later you could get some assistance from developers and the people. And for anybody who want to get cheap support and the stuff, there is always people on people per hour on Fiverr. They're like really cheap. You can get, because you're just building your new site, and to get some support, it's always doable. So it should
Yeah.
not be something that will limit you or stop you from building a
No,
site,
no.
or else like some people I know, because of this, they would go for places like Wix or Squarespace.
Yeah.
It's fine to go through, but you have to understand it's like basically you're renting forever, because you do not. So if you go through Wix, you always hook with them. You cannot lift their site and go on somewhere, even though increase the price and all. So if you build a WordPress site, it's like you buy a piece of land, or else you actually get it and you build your structure. And if you want to change the host, you can always remove it, take a backup, and go and do somewhere else. And if you really know, you can host your website on your PC, which is not recommendable unless you can keep it 24/7 on, right? But that's the flexibility you have. It's like you really learning and building your own property on your the paid land, you know, which you have much more ownership and controlling power, and do whatever publishing, because you can publish, write your things and everything. So and that's
No,
why
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think WordPress is really the best to use. But yeah, I mean, I just saw with my friends, like, you know, if
you saw, right?
if you're doing it like on the side, you know, if you still have a full-time job and you're doing it on the side, then yeah, I would recommend also to maybe get some support if you get stuck.
I mean, just like people like sometimes would spend more than that money on some type of shopping or something. But if somebody is like, okay, get your site sorted, like, the people would think, because this online identity, it's like it's your virtual property, you know. People get to hire you, people get to find more about you, people would want to deal with you because you have an online identity, which is the best place. The masses, the people who never had met you, can read about you and resonate with you and connect with you. So
absolutely. And there's also research that shows that people trust a website more than just a social media account. That is definitely a big point, I think, especially if you're planning on using your blog later on to, you know, for work-wise or whatever. A website is much more trustworthy than a social media account, definitely.
No, absolutely. And also the sharing factor, isn't it? You know, when you've got something on your social, you can share it on your blog. Even stuff like, you know, content, like I'll make content, I'll go and embed it on my blog so you can see it in multiple places. So really you're growing your audience in many ways. Right. Should we go on to how you can get started with a personal, you know, get yourself a domain?
That's a little bit of ideas about like why you need it. And like, it's like, it should not be even a question. If you're watching this video and if you're seeing, you have already felt the need, and then all we can say is get it started. So James actually had created a bunch of videos and also the best tutorial on Udemy about how to create a website. The link is below if you're seeing this video on YouTube, and James will walk through some of the steps of how easily you can create a WordPress website with Seekerhost app and get online in a matter of minutes.
Of course, another recommendation, which is something I come up into the other day, is obviously the transparency that you get with Seekerhost and the domains, the hosting. For instance, you know, my sister's website, she was looking to move it. She's actually hosting it on WordPress.com. So her domain was .wordpress.com. Her renewal after the first year was $108 for the next year. $108. So, you know, the transparency really isn't there with it. You know, you want to be sure how much you're paying the next year, which is something that we make super simple. You know, like you can see it from when you first get your domain. What's the price? What's the next year? What's the recurring years? So that's an important thing not to get trapped into. Also, problems like we've been trying to get her website off of there, which we actually can't. They've limited you in that case. So yeah, lots of plus points. We can go there. So just go back to share my screen again. So how do you get started with a personal blog? Obviously, the first thing it's going to be is getting yourself a domain, getting a domain in, you know, like we said earlier, in your name, something to do with your relevance, something that, you know, really it reminds people of you because it is your personal blog. Now, obviously, you know, steps to do this, head over to seekhost.com. You can get yourself a domain super quickly and easily. I mean, we're talking in a matter of minutes. I've done a video not so long ago, a few months ago, where I timed myself getting a todomain and what the actual time it took 45 seconds. Obviously, I know that I do this quite regularly, but it just goes to show, you know, how quickly
I can confirm.
Yeah.
I can confirm that too. Yeah, it's worked for me the same way.
Absolutely. Let's just take a little look at the dashboard as well. So if you are not familiar with the dashboard on Seekerhost, and obviously you want to go look for a domain, let's just go over to the Buy Domain section. Like I just mentioned there, it's simple, easy. You basically search for, I wanted my blog to be exactly my name, so jamesvarakos.com. Just going to hit a search on there, and it's going to come down. It's going to tell us whether this is available, and anything else that, any other sort of alternatives that I might be able to, or that I might want to choose as well. And it really is that easy. You add to cart. There's, I think, 3 or 4 steps. That's it. You got your domain done. And yeah, that's really, it's going to be like the starting point of you really building your blog. Let's go back to the PowerPoint over here. And obviously from that, what we're going to need to do is then get our hosting afterwards. So you've got your domain, research your domain as well. Research is extremely important, isn't it? I know I've seen a few videos of Manuela sort of describes how to research your keywords for the domain as well, to make sure that you got them in there. But I suppose that depends with a personal blog, doesn't it? Because sometimes you might just be going for your name or your content creator name. And then obviously is the hosting. For anybody that hasn't ever had a blog, a website, anything like that, you got to get your domain, then you get your hosting. Good to look for, obviously, save yourself some money, but also get the top features, or the main features that you should have with a blog. I've put a little list up there, the picture you should probably be able to see. And you can, for £1 a month, you can start yourself a personal site. And I've got the steps there on the left. If you do want to pause this, follow the steps. It is very easy. Again, we've got lots of tutorials and stuff like that on the Seekerhost YouTube. And of course on seekerhost.app as well in our knowledge base, if you're not sure how to get started. Oh, need to go that far then. Obviously, getting started with your personal website. Like I mentioned at the start, one of the really good ones and how I got started was actually following Manuela's university course on the, is it on
Seekerhost University,
Seekerhost University. Yeah, I mean, it was really just a really super easy step-by-step thing that, from the absolute beginning of getting your domain, it walks you through to having a website. And obviously, you learn a lot from that. And yeah, I've put a few tips up on there. I don't know if you want to talk about any of the things on the screen, what you can do to actually start creating your blog.
Yeah, I think what Fernando also already said is don't overcomplicate things in the beginning, because that's what I did when I started. I thought about the layout and everything, but what really matters most is the content in the beginning. So getting the pages
blogs
up.
just, I would say, like, get it up with the most simplest possible theme, and publish content. Start worrying about your design once you publish 10 articles. To fine tune your design and everything, you need to have some content, right? So that's images. So James, the entire guide shows exactly how to go about from start to finish of content, plugins, everything really. Even the design aspect, he shows it. And then of course, when it comes to writing and the stuff, you can follow up on the Seekerhost University. There is this SEO-friendly content writing course and things like that. So starting is what's important. Yeah.
I think, don't we already give some pre-installed plugins if people
we have some plugins going on. Some most important plugins automatically goes through. So that's definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, one of our last, not our last, I think a few podcasts ago, it's a really important one to watch, which is setting up your SMTP mailer for once you do have yourself set up, you want to be getting your mail through, especially if people are subscribing to your post. Often when people start on WordPress, they don't set up their mailer, so they're actually not receiving, up to all of the mail might not go through. So just set that up, check out our podcast. I'll find that link and I'll put it in the YouTube too. Just so when people do subscribe, it's going, they're also getting their emails back, just to let you know if they might subscribe and want to get, when you next put a blog post out, go to their email. So yeah, that's an important one to get. Get and do. And obviously, growing your website, your personal blog as well is an important one. Anything for me than like setting up simple and free analytic plugins just to see how it's doing. What post is doing well. Is there certain things that are trending that you should, potentially follow up a little bit? So it might be that out of 4 or 5 posts, one is doing really well. So obviously that subject is quite popular, and it'd be a good one to possibly add, make the post a little bit bigger, larger, increase stuff to it as well. Other things that we mentioned before, stuff like social sharing. Obviously, if you do have your socials, it's always good to be able to share your website or your socials, independently, increase the on-site and off-site SEO, on-page or off-page, sorry, not off-site. Little things, obviously, again, just, if you do want to read any of this, pause this, check it out. It's keyword research. We won't go too far into that, but it's a super important thing. Really,
I was just going to say, because we mentioned earlier, content is the most important thing. And that means not just the written content, but also images and whatever else you add. And there are different things that you can do to make them also rank better on search engines. And we, obviously we have a lot of articles about that, about SEO as well. And also you'll find it on Seacoast University as well. So I think that's definitely something. Once the website's up, or the blog is up, you definitely need to do some research on SEO. It's a very, very important thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a simple thing that somebody described to me at first, so when I was first learning and I was trying to understand what it means is, you want to make sure that people are actually searching for what you're writing for, because like you might have a really good article about something, but then find out that actually no people are searching. There's not many keywords going to this. So although you've spent a long time writing it, and, there's just not the audience out there. Whereas you might have researched and found a different keyword or key term, for the same subject. And realistically, by using that key term, keyword, people are going to then start coming into the subject, because that's what they're searching for. You got to think about what people are searching for rather than, change the titles around, change the words around, and it really does help.
It does make a big difference. And I've been working with some writers recently, and they'd never thought about keyword research, and they would just, come up with a topic and that's it. And and you can see, those articles don't rank and they don't get the traffic, they don't get the views. So if you want to build a blog that is seen by people and that ranks, then you definitely have to learn some SEO skills. That's inevitable.
No, absolutely. And like I said, we've got lots of content about that. Let's go building links. I don't know whether to go too far into building links on this. Obviously, if you're creating a personal website, might not be something that's
we can quickly touch on maybe things like guest posting, because as a personal blogger, that's definitely something people should think about, because you want to connect with people that write about similar topics, or you want to get some mentions in some magazines or other blogs that are related to what you write about. So guest posting is definitely something that anybody can do. You just research, a topic that you write about, and check which websites cover this as well. You reach out to the editors or the bloggers, whoever's in charge, and you just basically say, hey, I got this guest post idea. Can I get my article up on your page? Or you can talk about how you could collaborate with them. But that's quite important, I think, when you're trying to build your website.
Absolutely. And it all builds the SEOs. The more links you have coming to your site from other sites also help, especially if they're relevant. Talking about relevance, obviously keeping your personal website relevant, and up to date. Relevant in terms of, obviously, one thing that I've noticed with my blogs anyway is usually if I stick to one niche for a while and then I post a completely irrelevant post about something else, it really doesn't do well. Because
very true. Because Google really likes niche relevancy. So even the seekerhorse.app website, we purely went on WordPress blogs related content, and it ranked it much sooner, right? So when I look at other Seekerhorse website, we wrote about a lot of business, and so Google like to really see niche specific websites. So like when you're starting a personal website, of course you can get started, but try to see what you're more passionate about writing. So in James' case, he's most into WordPress and Minecraft and the hosting related. So see his focus. But if he comes around and start writing about like pet walking or like plumbing, or because he had an interest, but that's not going to, because Google don't feel that this website is an expert, because that's where they want to send traffic. They want to send traffic to experts. So even my website, I publish content about real entrepreneurship, online business, and it ranks really well, because my previous websites, which didn't do well, I was actually writing around, so sorry, in a personal website, if you are an expert in a one particular topic, that's where you can really grow with traffic. So try your best to stick to a chosen niche that you are passionate and your expertise on writing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I venture off of Minecraft or WordPress on my website, there is almost, you just see the traffic go down straight away. It's just not relevant to the people to come and check realistically. Off. So yeah, any tips and tricks realistically for anybody just starting that you guys can?
So mine, if I had to share, you guys probably then now saw how to start it. Entire things on the description. You can see James how to create a personal website tutorial is there. And Udemy, if you are really new, you can go about and start on that and go through. And also on the seekhouse.app, we have entire WordPress tutorial section. It show you video by video showing exactly how to do each and every, buying a domain, how to pick the domain, what you should consider when getting a domain, how to register, how to pay for it, then hosting it, WordPress installation, theme design, everything, right? So all these things are covered. So you got the entire guide and the tutorial to set up your website. And the other things you can do is to get started, because starting and experiencing, and then once you learn it, you will see what you would like to evolve in, what would you like to write, and the monetization skills and the things. So these are the things tips wise. Then it comes down to learning some SEO. One of the things is like SEO is what it's based on. If you do not have, especially when you're starting, you don't have Google AdWords budget and to do some advertising money, so you need to generate traffic to make sure your blog articles are read and the stuff. So learning search and optimization, which you can learn for free at Seekhouse University. Manuela has a nice course, SEO friendly content writing. She's been writing SEO friendly content for so long, so that course is there, and you can learn all those things. And there are a bunch of videos by so many experts on YouTube where you can learn. That's how I learned back in the days, like free education online, right? So those are the tips. And to tell you, make sure you get started, so it's Seekhouse app, things are even easier. So
I was just going to say that I would say don't be scared. Just do it, because I knew nothing about WordPress. I knew nothing about SEO, and I learned it all by doing it. And everybody can do that. It's like, as Fernando said, there's so many resources, there's so many courses, especially from our side. We try to make it really easy and really practical, so that you can just get started immediately with Seekhouse app. It's really super easy. Even friends that I've helped, they found it super easy and really straightforward. And then of course you have to invest some time, but it's really worth it, because you learn so much. And as you do it, you get faster, you get better, and it just grows and grows, so that's that. I think just get started. That's all you can do.
Absolutely. So guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, of course, if you want to see more.
Subscribe to the Seekhouse channel, right? And we will be coming with videos every week. The next video, I'll try to bring Dinesh as well. So we got nice for people doing the video and talking about, which I'm planning about talking about the guest posting business model. And Manuel had some ideas that we want to share with the industry. So that's our next video. So make sure you subscribe to Seekhouse channel and follow us. And if you have any questions, drop us in the below in the comments.